So in today's video we're going to be looking at an example to show how the extraction of a fossil fuel has both advantages and disadvantages, and we have studied oil in Alaska. Do check out our other video that looks at the cold environment of Alaska, because this fits in very nicely to one of the ways there are opportunities to make money for economic development in Alaska. So this is a good way of revising Alaska for two different topics. So focusing on oil in Alaska, that's our example of a fossil fuel. It's non-renewable, being extracted in Alaska, particularly in the north of Alaska, in and around Prudhoe Bay. And there are a number of very large oil wells where they are extracting oil. The advantages of drilling oil for the United States and Alaska is the amount of money that drilling for this resource brings in. It's around 6 billion every year currently. It's a huge amount of money earned from drilling. Taxes that the state receives from oil companies can then be invested in improving community facilities such as schools, therefore improving the life for the inhabitants. Not only this, but people who live in Alaska directly benefit from the range of jobs available working in the oil industry on the rigs, for example. So there's one of their hard hats. 1 in 3 jobs are related to the oil industry in Alaska. More jobs are created with higher paid salaries, and it drives the multiplier effect, so the snowballing of economic activity. So it benefits other industries such as local shops, as more people have money to spend in these shops. And thirdly, a benefit for the United States to expand their drilling of oil in Alaska is that it reduces their insecurity, their energy insecurity, and improves their energy security, their ability to provide their energy needs. 20% of US oil is imported from other countries. So by increasing drilling in Alaska, it reduces dependence on other countries, so they will be more energy secure and reduce the amount of money they have to spend on imports. So these are all the advantages. However, with most stories, we have our disadvantages. Now, unfortunately, where economic development does well, it's usually the environment that suffers. And in this case, our polar bears are very sad. Not only have you got the infrastructure, the buildings, the pipelines, all linked with extracting the oil, which then damages the habitats, reducing species diversity, and disrupting food chains and food webs. But by burning these extracting fossil fuels, which leads to obviously use of them, and burning them releases more CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which then traps more of the sun's energy, increasing global temperatures, and ice is melting, and polar bears are losing their habitat in which to hunt, and their numbers are decreasing. Secondly, trying to drill in this location is actually quite challenging because there are extreme seasons, many months where it's really, really cold, but in the summer it warms up and the top layer of the soil melts. It's the active layer, and it causes buildings to subside. This means machinery and buildings from the oil industry can sink. Therefore, it's more expensive to build here, and to stop that they have to engineer quite specifically, and that increases the amount of the cost of the oil. So it can make their oil more expensive and reduces the ability to make profits for the oil company. And lastly, in this example, which is very similar to our cold environments example, is that Alaska is quite inaccessible. It's very challenging to get across Alaska. There are not really many proper roads. There are some ice roads in the winter. Again, that makes it really quite challenging. Only certain vehicles can get through. So air is the only way, or ships to the outside of the coast. It makes working all year round very difficult, and so profits do drop in the winter months. So this is your example of fossil fuel extraction, and it's oil drilling in Alaska.